All right, it is time to talk about Paraguay. Um, so basically, what I've done in the last couple months since hitting a new PB in GeoGuessr is just I've sort of stepped back during like a busy final season, final exams, and I've just focused on learning Paraguay. And the idea was to um, be able to make a doc and maybe a YouTube video to explain what I've learned in the last couple months. Played this um, played this country quite a bit, and as you can tell. And so yeah, I just wanted to share what I learned. I'm gonna put this in the Plunkett meta publication Discord and share it in some Discord servers of streamers that I interact with a lot. And so yeah, it's a very long doc, so I'm gonna probably do this video stuff in two parts, and then slide the links in here and then publish it. I'm almost entirely done with the dock. I just have like, I don't know, I think a couple roads left to do. Um, but yeah, a lot of the stuff down here is done. I've just kind of put off a couple roads because they're like not, low key not that helpful. And so I did the best roads to know first. And yeah, the Western coverage I would say is the best stuff to learn first because you can kind of see just how limited it is. You can see there's one road here, two roads, basically three, four roads, however you want to count it. But it takes up half the country, and so it's most important to learn these roads. You don't want to send the wrong half of the country, and it's really easy to tell everything apart out here. So yeah, nice and easy, nice and quick. Let's just start with the Western stuff. So yeah, I just put that into words here. Um, yeah, and I guess just like generally. Oh, I'm clicking through the wrong doc. Hold on. Okay, but just yeah, generally, this is what I mean by the Western half, and yeah, we can talk about the differences between this video and next. But generally speaking, when you're in the eastern side of the country, it's going to be more agricultural. It's soybean farming right here. It's going to be a little bit more developed. Like even this amount of houses, we got some grazing fences, I think. That would be too developed in general for the western side of the country. But then if I just like click out here, for example, like look how overgrown the grass is. You've got very dense, bushy vegetation. And yeah, so like you can just vibe it. Like that alone should mostly get you on the right half of the country. Like gauging how developed it is and yeah, how agricultural or grazing focused or wild it is, wild out west. And yeah, but if you actually learn the roads, they're very memorable, and then you don't have to rely on the vibes. So first, we're going to start with the PY09, which is this road that runs from the capital Asuncion all the way out to the end of coverage, basically on the border. Um, Pros to this road, it drives northwest the entire way, and that's actually quite rare um, in Paraguay. I mean, you can see like little bits here, and that'll look much different. I mean, like this, I guess is technically northwest, but it's really not. Um, Southeast, southeast, northeast, like this is looks just way different forest fire coverage. We'll get to that. Very cool meta. But yeah, so it's actually quite rare to drive northwest. So if you see a northwest road angle, this should pop into your head, and then the next questions should be like, does it sort of match what I would call kind of a Formosa vibe? Um, in that there's a lot of dense, short, bushy trees, overgrown grasses, not really much development at all. You will get some Formosa palms along this road as well. Um, and yeah, I mean, if you just combine those two things, driving northwest and the vibe, you can get this road. However, fun part about this road is just getting it is not enough because look how big it is. It runs half the country. And so we need to break it up more. And the way that I do that first is I break it up into two halves. So around this focal point via Choferes, you can also maybe just look for Loma Plata if on the map if that's easier to remember because it's quite big. and generally close. But yeah, Via Choferes, because when you're west of that town, there's no frontage road. And what I mean by that is look at over here. Well, over here there is a frontage road. It sort of just looks like a massive divided highway in a way, but like it's just too big. That Crassi median is way too big. Um, and yeah, so first of all, that divides it in half. Um, and then we can also divide. Let's start with just this western half first, which is I think what I did in the dock. Yeah, some Formosa palms here. Like I just said, frontage road divided in half, and um, oh, I guess I started with the eastern stuff, but that's okay. We'll start with the western stuff because you can divide it into three sections. All the way max now northwest into coverage, it's unpaved. That's helpful in terms of, I just said how rare it is to have a northwest um, road like this in Paraguay. It's even rarer for it to be unpaved because just if I just compare, like, look how many roads I've tagged in this country, and look how little is unpaved. It's actually quite rare, and a lot of it is out west. But yeah, so unpaved. You should be aware also that it can narrow in like quite a unique way all the way at the end. So don't let that throw you off because this is maybe what you'd expect when it says unpaved. That starts right around this bend in the road. So yeah, right here, right where it bends in the road is where it becomes unpaved. Maybe easier to remember because of that. Um, and so yeah, that's sort of like this area right here, unpaved, um, and really good free 5K. Next we have, what did I go with? The middle stuff? Nope, I went with this just stuff just out of Via Choferes, which has birds' nests on the poles for whatever reason. It's also, oops, it's hilariously consistent. Like I have clicked through all of these locks and I've tagged all of the ones that have birds' nests on the poles, and they're very obvious. So same sort of vibe. Um, Looks like Formosa, but if you see birds' nests on the poles on the Northwest Highway, you can go right outside of Via Choferes, somewhere in this area. Um, and then that leaves, let me just tag this again so you can see what it leaves. That leaves this middle section, which is just generic. I mean, and road angles can help with all this too, because obviously this unpaved road angle is quite different from that road angle. What's going on? A little bit different from this road angle, but yeah, use the bird's nest on the poles or the lack thereof to get the right stretch of the PY09 when you don't have a frontage road. Now, if you do have a frontage road, it becomes a little bit more annoying. What are these tagged as? Oh, bird's nest on poles. Let me untag that real quick. Where is it? So here, let me just, so you see these green and purple tags here. We're just talking about this coverage where the PY09 starts going in to right here. And basically you can sort of narrow down your options here. First of all, you can usually line up a road angle from here on this half and it's okay. Not always. And so I endeavored to find a way to narrow it down further, and I noticed that for a lot of the coverage, the frontage road, which I'm basically calling this unused road over here, the road not driven on, it's to the north, and that's what all the green tags represent. So you can see, and it's like generally northeast. I'm just going to call it north because if I look north, it's on that side. You can call it northeast if you want, but if the frontage road is to your south or southwest, if that's what you want to call it, here's a lot of Formosa palms. If the frontage road is to your south or southwest, then you're going to be in these pink areas. So yeah, the way I remember it is, everything west of Pozo, Colorado here is frontage road to the north. And then it just kind of alternates in three pretty even sections between south, north, south. And that can help you narrow it down. Yeah, and this road should usually be a free 5K or close to there too. Maybe you get the wrong angle sometimes, but you'll get the hang of it. Um, and yeah, so yeah, my doc walks through all this stuff. Um, I've also flagged in this doc which roads are most important, and that's a combination of which ones are like the easiest to get. So like you should just remember them because they're so easy, and a combo of like how important they actually are. So like that PY09 is a massive road, so it's pretty important. Um, excuse me. I would also call the PY16 important, and that is this road that runs on both sides of the highway. So let me just deselect some stuff real quick. Get rid of the PY09 since we just talked about that. Yeah, so first we'll just talk about these two north-south stretches of the PY16. I think they're important because again, it's out west where you don't want to get the wrong half of the country. And I think what's most notable about this road is that it's mostly unpaved, and so there's some stuff that's paved down here, but for example, all of the stuff that drives north is unpaved, and it has a very wild vibe, like you'd expect out west. So you can see, low, bushy, dense green vegetation, like I was saying. You also get a lot of organ pipe cacti for whatever reason on this northern stretch of the PY16. I haven't really seen it anywhere else in the country, so I suppose you could just use that plant to get this stretch. But I mean, a northern driving unpaved highway like this, it's just going to be this road. And if you want to have a bonus, it's got a pretty obvious front blur to me. Pretty, you can kind of see it, I think. Um, it becomes harder to see when you're a little bit down in the city. Like, in fact, I don't even see it at all there. Um, but yeah, maybe a bit of a haze, but not really. Um, I think it starts maybe more like right here. Yeah, you can start to see the glare from the sun is more of a haze. Um, but still, I mean, unpaved road driving north, like just go this road. Don't worry about the blur. Um, and yeah, so that's all you really need to know to get the top of the road or the northern part of the road. Um, and yeah, most highways are paved, so this is really unique. Um, and yeah, I just gave a bunch of example locks in all these sections in case you want to click around. I'm also going to try to make the JSON available wherever I can. I don't think I can link it in a YouTube video, but I'll send it, wherever else I send the doc. I still need to finish it and tag it up quite a bit, so that might be a secondary project. It's got too many tags and they're maybe not perfect. But yeah, now we have this southern stretch. And yeah, there's a few things to know here. So from Philadelphia, which is here, to Newland Colony, the road was covered driving both directions. So there's some southern stuff, and some northern stuff, and you can they look quite different because of the rain. But you should be able to get them either way. And yeah, some other tips real quick. You can see like most of this is unpaved. It's paved for a little while close to Via Choferes, and then it becomes unpaved after Newland Colony and continues on unpaved. And you can see it's a very similar vibe to up here. You can tell it's a little wetter because it is about to rain, or maybe just did rain, but same vibe, just driving south. So same sort of thing. If you're driving generally south, in this sort of vibe, just go this road. If you want an added bonus, you can see that it's threatening to storm on this road, and indeed sometimes was storming for this bit of coverage. So this rainy coverage is really unique, and there's not a lot of it because a lot of the coverage was overwritten by this more generic looking stuff where it's still threatening to storm. But yeah, this is just kind of how it looks. Like you can kind of tell here that it's still got a western vibe if you look like this way. It's not quite as easy, so I could definitely see someone missing this. I could see myself missing this, but it does feel western. And if it's driving north but paved, you know you're going to be on this section because obviously this stuff is all unpaved. Um, and yeah, like maybe some very small exceptions like this, but you don't have to worry about that stuff too much. You're going to be generally close anyway, and if you had to worry about every single exception to every single rule, you'd be, yeah, not in a good state. But yeah, I guess you can remember the storminess even when it's not actually wet on the road. Same for this unpaved stuff. It looks wet, looks stormy, and even sometimes there are puddles of water on the road. Let me see if I can find one. Not quite. I probably used sometimes a little bit too strongly. I mean, there's some water that's run off. Um, but yeah, I mean, you can tell it's wet anyway. So yeah, I think that wraps up the 19. Let me just make sure. Yeah, I talked about the storminess. Here's what I was, I guess, thinking of the really wet, unpaved stuff. Um, and then this is a fun one, I guess. Just because, like, you're not going to get that many rounds on these roads, but they are so free that you should know them. And, like, imagine you get this and your opponent goes, like, anything else. You're going to get a lot of points, especially on multis. I mean, to get this, you just need to remember same sort of vibe, western with low, bushy, dense green vegetation, overgrown grasses, and it's driving dead east, which is unique also. I mean, driving dead east, I mean, you can see that, like, there's this, for example, but it's unpaved. So paved stuff driving east, it's just this road. And if you want your added bonus, again, this also has the front blur. You can see it a lot better on this road, I would say. It's like, looks very hazy to the front of the car, especially, in my opinion. Um, and yeah, I guess the maybe trickier part is differentiating between the two stretches of road. My best tip for this is that, gen- I mean, consistently speaking, this western part of it feels way more cramped and claustrophobic. And by that, I mean, look how close the trees are to the side of the road here. Pretty close on both sides. We have more organ pipe cacti um, as a tangent. But look how, claustrophobic it is. Trees close on both sides consistently. Um, and over here, you can tell much farther away. You also have Formosa palms on this road because it's more of an open landscape and you can actually see them. Whereas over here, there probably are Formosa palms around, but they're obstructed from view by the close vegetation that's quite, it's blocking the view because it's dense. But yeah, I mean, that's a pretty consistent meta. Like, this one's a little bit more arbitrary, but you can definitely, I think, still tell that it's farther away on this side. In fact, is there a utility pole to the north consistently? Oh, I mean, maybe that could be a way. Utility pole to the south here. But I've never needed to use that, and I've pretty much always gotten the right half. Look how far away the trees are on this side. Formosa palms, same sort of thing. Lots of them. And there's even a little bit of development once you get closer to this. I saved this one from, I think, a daily challenge from long ago, if I'm not misremembering. But yeah, just because I didn't realize that it went all the way to this little city. The more you know. But I mean, yeah, that kind of covers those two. And yeah, that's really the Western stuff, which is where I might call this video. That took probably quite a while. So maybe this is gonna be a three-parter series. But I guess just to give you guys a preview of what I'm gonna finish next, there's a very agricultural section out east, and you can kind of parse them into north and south roads, and then also east and west roads. North and south roads are real easy because of driving direction and truck meta. And yeah, we'll talk about that. Part of the truck meta is that in some parts of the country you have this dented truck right there, kind of cool. And then the east-west roads, they get a little bit harder to control, but they're still pretty doable. combining truck meta and mostly driving direction, and also a little bit of the sun's positioning. So it does get pretty intricate, and you can even get more intricate by, for example, looking at the road material. Cobblestone is in certain areas, unpaved is in certain areas. Yeah, we'll talk about that. I want to research this follow car more too before I publish, because I just noticed this a couple days ago actually. Um, More east-west roads. You'll see a recurring theme throughout the doc that like the middle portion of the country is kind of hardest to guess because it's just quite generic. Like here we have truck meta, but like I don't know. To me, like a lot of these can look pretty similar, um, in some important ways. Um, and so it gets kind of silly and intricate in ways to try to differentiate them, and it can be really difficult to remember. But I'll try to include those ways in case you want to be a psycho and remember everything. Fair play to you. Um, yeah, and then like we'll talk about some miscellaneous stuff. There's a divided highway and a good way to region guess it. Um, and you should know that that exists. The PY19 is also going to be an important road because it drives northeast through a Formosa vibe, which is pretty unique. Um, and yeah, the 20 also, like you can see there's sort of not much coverage down here either, so knowing these two roads is really important. This one's kind of cool because it's the only big highway, like down in the southern half of the country that is unpaved. So it's pretty gettable in that respect. Yeah, I guess I won't spoil everything. Good forest fire meta, and then this is where I start to need to finish up my. I need to get my shit together basically. Um, Pretty good into the talk. So I got like 3 more roads to go. Um, but yeah, maybe we'll hit 80 pages. Who knows? But anyway, that's gonna finish it off for now. I'm probably gonna upload these. Wait to upload this until I finish the doc and finish recording the second and third video. Then I can put the videos links in the doc so that when I publish it, or put it in the meta publication channel. Publish sounds a little bit too serious. All the resources will be together, and I'll work on the JSON after that. But yeah, thanks for watching if you made it this far, and hopefully you learned something.